everyone! For some reason this week I have been reminiscing a lot about my youth. Specifically the period between the ages of about 12 and 16 going on 17. I am 16 going on 17. I know that I'm naive. Now I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was pretty miserable during those ages. I was being horrendously bullied at school. I was a teenage girl, so I had hormones going all over the place and the usual teen dramas that girls of that age go through. Dear Diary, why can't I just marry me from 911? I love him! P.S. I really hate maths. So when I say I'm reminiscing, it's not so much a case of being sad that I'm not in that place in my life anymore. It's more a question of thinking about that specific period in time. I am talking about the mid to late 90s. Oh my god, that era was my era. We're talking about the music, the TV, everything about the mid to late 90s is mine. It's the period I'm most nostalgic about. It's the period that in pub quizzes I get the most questions right about. I was there. It's my time. And I guess part of the reason I'm so fond of it is because when you're going through that really pivotal age of going from childhood to adolescence, that is a really important time in your life, and you're bound to be fond for whatever was the backdrop to that point in your life. So it makes sense that the mid to late 90s mean a lot to me. Anyway, since I've been reminiscing so much, I figured why not take you guys along with me? Let's go back to the 90s. Firstly, there was the music. Okay guys, I know if you're watching this and you're somebody who's young today, you're thinking, guys, we have the best music. I hate to tell you, but no. We had the best boy bands. I mean, when Robbie Williams left Take That, the Samaritans had to set up extra phone lines. That's how massive Take That were back then. And if boy bands weren't your thing, oh my goodness guys, have you heard of a thing called Britpop? Britpop was one of the biggest musical scenes of the 90s. It was massive! And you had to pick your side. You were either Blur, oh the people, so many people, or Oasis. Today's gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. Mad for that. You had to pick your team and stay in your lane. I mean, until you're an adult, and now looking back, I like Oasis and Blur. But at the time, I was like, Blur! I hate Oasis! Not to mention the fact that if you were a teenage girl in the mid-90s, all of a sudden this band came along and it was like, ah. I am of course talking about the Spice Girls. You got to pick your Spice Girl because there was a girl in that band to represent pretty much every kind of teenage girl there was. So I'm dressed like Sporty Spice, but my hair is like Scary Spice. But my name is Emma. They represent me so well. And you know how nowadays everybody mocks the England football team because they're not as good as they used to be? Well, in Euro 96, they played their socks off, and it was in that tournament that Stuart Pearce became my ultimate footballing hero for possibly the greatest reaction to scoring a penalty I have ever seen. And then there's the TV. You guys have probably seen all the repeats of Friends on various different TV channels over the years. I mean, it's memed now. There are GIFs of Friends all over the internet. But back in the 90s, we watched it happen for the first time. You guys know what happened. For us back then, it was like, oh my god, will Ross and Rachel ever get back together? I need to know! It was all highly emotional. And talking of emotional, you may think that 2016 has been like the Grim Reaper coming along and taking away some major celebrities, and it has, damn you 2016. However, it hasn't taken any major members of the royal family. You have seen nothing like the events of 1997 when Princess Diana was killed in a car crash and the whole of the UK went. It was one of the biggest news events of the decade. I mean, no matter who has died in 2016, Elton John has not felt the need to rewrite Candle in the Wind for them. Goodbye, England's rules. Seriously, it was massive. I can't even tell you how massive it was. And really sad. There is so much I could tell you about the 90s. I mean, we saw the internet become more commonplace. We had Tamagotchis. And if you're like me, you had an own brand version of a Tamagotchi, which you killed quite quickly. Sorry. We used to tape the top 40 from the radio onto little cassette tapes, which we would then listen to in a Walkman. And then inevitably the tape would come out of the cassette and you'd have to get a pencil and stick it in the hole and twist it. And oh, you guys don't know you're born. Disney was at its height. We had The Lion King, we had Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. All these films that Disney are now making as live action, we had the classic originals in the 90s. We played Super Mario, we played Sonic the Hedgehog. These were the days, the halcyon days, guys. I mean, if you talk to anybody who was around in the 90s and you say, in West Philadelphia, born and raised, they almost have to, by law, go, on the playground is where I spent most of my days. It's just how we roll. Yes, no matter how old I get, the 90s will always be my era. Maybe it's just because I'm feeling a bit old lately. Maybe it's because some bad stuff has happened in my personal life this week and I'm feeling a bit miserable. For whatever reason, my brain has decided to go back to the era it's most comfortable in, which is the 1990s. Right now, I think I'm gonna go and maybe do some Where's Wally? Ooh, or look at a magic eye picture. If you've never seen one, they will blow your mind. Or perhaps I'll just put on my dungarees and dance to Bewitched. Fight like me dad as well. If you enjoyed my trip down memory lane, please give it a thumbs up. You can click on my head to subscribe. And if you want to know what the top things that annoy me about the internet are, just give a little click over there and you will find out. I'll talk to you next week.